Hello. So we are again starting another episode. This time we will be talking regarding the certificates. This certificate concept is something which is very confusing among the iOS developer, especially when we are actually starting our iOS development journey. And still after some years we might still have that confusion on certificates. So let us have that full understanding. What is certificate? Why do we need it? And how to create it? And what types of certificate is there. This episode is mainly focusing on the why, when, what, and types of certificates. Certificate creation is another episode content. So let us start. Certificate is basically a digital certificate through which Apple knows that the developer is known. So when I am creating a CSR, which is the certificate signing request from my machine, Apple knows that this is me, the developer, and then I creating a certificate and then I release the app. So through that, Apple knows who is actually developing that app. So that's why certificate is required for Apple to uniquely identify the developer who developed the app. Now, there is actually two different types of certificate. But why do we need certificates, right? This is the very first question we should ask. So when we want to run our app on any of the Apple devices, we need that certificates. So if I develop an app on my Xcode and I run it on the simulator, I don't need a certificate. That's totally fine. But when I need to run that app on my development iPhone, I need a certificate. So as we can see, like whenever we want to release the app or to run the app on our devices, then we need the certificates. So there is basically two types of certificate: development and distribution. Development certificate is used on development time. So I am a developer, I have an iPhone on which I want to run the app. Then I need to create a development certificate, and through that development certificate I will be able to run the app on my testing devices. This is development certificate. Now one interesting thing is that sometimes we have a confusion regarding development certificates. Development certificate is basically for one developer, one development certificate, one developer. It is not for multiple developers. So there is a strange behavior, or I would say a different type of opinion, to use the same development certificate for multiple developers. This is not the standard. This is not for the reason development certificate is created. So under an organization there could be multiple developers, and each developer should be able to create his own certificate. That is how development certificate works. Now if we want to talk about distribution certificate, what are the distribution certificate? So distribution certificate is something which we will be using to release the app or to distribute the app among the devices which are not directly connected with the development machine. So I cannot directly plug a device on my machine and run that on the testing device. So let's think about that. I have a product owner who is living outside of my country, and then I need to distribute the app to his or her phone. Then I will be using the distribution certificate to create the IPA and to distribute it to that corresponding PO who is outside of my country. So that's how the distribution certificate works. Now there is three different channels how an app can be distributed. One is App Store, another one is Ad Hoc, and another one is Enterprise. And we can easily understand App Store means that it is for the Apple App Store through which every people can download the app. Ad Hoc is kind of a like smaller marketplace, and it is like very fixed user base. The developer knows who is actually using the app through email or like through already giving an access to the developer portal. And the final one is the Enterprise. Enterprise is pretty much for a company. So let's say I have a company and I want to have the NOC software, and I want to only want to that app run on my employees which is under the company. So in that case I will use the enterprise distribution. So pretty much it. And the problem of this flow is that the distribution certificate need to be created by a single individual developer. That makes a unique challenge, because now what will happen if the developer is unavailable? Then we're gonna actually get stuck, right? So that's why we're gonna use some automation tool like Fastlane or Xcode Cloud, so that we don't have to deal with that situation where the developer who was creating the development certificate is now unavailable. So when we want to create certificates, there are a couple of options. One is for software and another one is for services. We are not going with the services section, we are going for the software section. And we can see there is category of development and distribution certificate, right? This is how it is going. Okay, now what with the Apple and iOS? So Apple means everything that is under the Apple ecosystem, which is iOS, iPad, macOS, tvOS and watchOS, and even the visionOS. But for iOS, it is just the iOS app. So we're gonna go through one by one, and for now this is just starting. On the next episode we will create a CSR and then a certificate. But before going that, if we have bought a new phone or iPad, it will not be having the developer mode enabled. So we need to do that part. I'm gonna share this link, and through that you can actually know how to enable the developer mode, so that you can use that device as your testing devices. But remember that this is only required for a development testing device, not for every device, right? So whenever you have a device which you wanted to use for development, then you need to enable the developer mode. So that's it for today. We're gonna talk more on the next episode. See you.